up? Hello? Hello? Yeah, I don't know why it's not showing. I think it's showing. It doesn't show the time anymore, so I can't tell if it's on or not. What? What's up? What's up? Yeah, I actually couldn't find my phone. I grabbed the phone and then I came, set up, went to the restroom, and I'm like, oh, where's the phone? So then I had to go back to the car and then go get the phone. So hopefully everything's good. We do got a part two. This will be a shorter service today because I need to do a part two. It's just too long for one service, but not long enough to make two full services. So shalom everyone, shalom everyone. Be dealing with probably deal with that later on in the service. I have to use my words wisely. Dealing with these Asians keep getting away with shooting these people. But nonetheless, I'll go quick. Welcome to True Hebrews United. Definitely give all honor to the Almighty, the Creator of heaven and earth, and all that is in therein. Without Him, we could be nothing, do nothing, accomplish nothing. He gives us our family, our immune system, our health, and everything. Thank the Almighty for that. Through His Son, Yeshua, HaMashiach, the only begotten, salvation, Savior. His name needs to be He will save, or our Savior. Definitely thank the Almighty through Him. All the apostles, all the ministers out there, all the brothers and sisters keeping the commandments of the Most High, and all the people on the Facebook and YouTube. Yeah, I'm a little late, so I'm kind of introduction's a little shorter. So praise the Almighty. Let's get into the. Don't tell me I left my paper too. No, slipping today. Super slipping. No. All right, I gotta go there again. This time I'll be quick though. So you guys fellowship with each other. It won't take long. Exodus 20. Running even more late now. Exodus 20. Maybe it's a good thing today's a shorter service. Exodus 20, verse 1. All right, cool. With all that said, being done, let's let the things do the walking and the scriptures do the talking. Exodus 20, verse 1. And the Almighty spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, the likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or is earth and beneath, or that is in the waters under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I am the Lord thy God, and am a jealous God, visiting iniquity upon the fathers, and to the children, and to the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and show mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, or will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days thou shalt labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day, which is today, is the Sabbath of the Lord thy Yah. Thou shalt not do any work, now nor thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor the stranger that's within the gate. For 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth and the sea that is in therein, and rested on the Sabbath day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that the days may be long which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet, which we're going to deal with today, thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Thou shalt not, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. All right? So those are the main commandments. I'm going to be dealing with covetousness, or covet to covet, as well as envy today. So to covet, when you look that up in the Strong's Concordance, is a desire, lust, long, a greed. And so I'm going to give some examples out of it as well, as far as how can I best explain that to you. To be evilly affected, when you want something so bad that it affects your behavior and your train of thought, that's covetousness. And it could be something good. Like maybe you're craving sugar so bad to where you're irritable. Like, no, stop, calm down. You're lusting after that sugar. They lusted after the quails, and they wanted meat so bad that they lusted after that the Almighty condemned them for it. So when you're consumed with your thoughts and everything on having something, and your desire is unsatisfied, and then I'll deal with entitlement. As far as covetousness, when you want, no, I'll deal with that. That's more so envy. So when you're unsatisfied until you have something, and hopefully that explains it better. That's my definition. But the regular definition is desire, lust, long, greed, and jealousy. The reason why I'm giving you mine as well is because sometimes in the Strong's Concordance, it just says, it doesn't really give you an example or a situation. It just says lust. But there's a difference between you lusting after your wife to be intimate, and so it doesn't differentiate between desire or greed. Maybe greed's self-explanatory. Or when it says consumed. So the concept of you being overwhelmed with the desire or covenant, something that's not yours. So it says, go ahead and give me Matthew chapter 5, verse 27. Matthew chapter 5, verse 27. Let's get it. All right. It says, you have heard in the old, it was said of them of the old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you that whosoever look at a woman and lust after her have committed adultery already in his heart. So that would have been covetousness. He's not even saying a new commandment. he's saying now, if you covet your neighbor's wife, it's committing adultery. He upped the ante. He upped the bar. Because we just read in Exodus 20, verse 17, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor the neighbor's ox, or his manservant, his maidservant, or anything that is thy neighbor's. So it says now, if you just desire a man's wife, that's adultery now. So you broke two commandments, the covenant and the adultery, right? Now, covet and envy, they go hand in hand. They're not synonymous, but they go hand in hand. To covet is to lust for something that belongs to someone else. To have envy is to resent someone or something for their success or because they have something that you do not. But typically what happens is if you desire something from someone, then you're going to lead to resentment if you can't have it. Why do they have it? Man, I wish I had a husband like that, man. And then you resent them. You resent them. And then there's righteous resentment. Like when you have a good husband and the wife is cheating on him, it's like, yeah, not that I want your husband, but you're not deserving of him. Like you don't cook, you don't do this, you do this, you're argumentative, or vice versa. You have a good woman and the man's abusive and verbally abusive. And yeah, that's one thing, but that's not covenant. That you could be a woman that just don't like the man because of how the man's treating. It's not that you're covenant. You're just, nah, I don't like how you're dealing with this individual. But the main thing is man, why does he have that car? Or why does he got that promotion? Or why does that? That's envy. Because you covet, you're wondering why they got it, but it's something that you want. So the reason why covetousness, and if you look at the definition in the Strong's Concordance of jealousy of envy, it says jealousy, and it says covet or earnestly. So the definition are similar. They have similar descriptions of it. But the difference between what we want and what we covet is and we're going to break this down on why not to covet. This is why it's going to be a two-part story. So I'm just giving you an example of covetousness and envy, and so you have a clear illustration. Because us reading the text, it says don't be covetous or through covetous practices, and you don't really understand what is it to covet. Because you're saying, are you desire his ox or his donkey or whatever that is neighbor? The difference between a want and a covet is if I go to that man and I'm like, man, dude, that donkey's strong, man. He got a nice pit bull or whatnot. Man, I want that pit bull. That puppy's already this big. And you go to him and you say, hey, man, can I buy that off you? That's just a want. Yes, you want that, but you're not coveting that. You're not like, man, I really want that, this and this. I'm not coveting it. It's not consuming you. You're not super bummed out. There's some things you get bummed out. Man, I really wanted that job, but praise the Almighty, I'll move on, right? But it's not consuming me. And then two, now you're not envious of him. And this is why if you can't get it, then you're like, man, why does he get it? Dude, I look better than him. Like when people be like, how did he pull her? I look better than him. How did he pull her? I make more money than him. That's covetousness and that's envy. It's nothing wrong with desiring a pretty lady or desiring a big house or desiring a good husband. It's nothing wrong with wanting those things. But when you covet those things and it consumes you and you're evilly affected when you see people have it, like why do they have that? And that's why I feel that covetousness is an entitlement too. Because if we want something and we're not covetous, we're like, man, that guy got a nice car. You know what? Let me go to him and ask what job he does or how did he get that? Or you know what? Maybe I need to put my head in the books and increase my value. Maybe I need to do more hours. Maybe I need to save more. Maybe I need to invest more and I can get those things. That's the difference between when we want and we covet. Covetousness and envious is entitlement. You feel that you're deserving of something that you're not willing to sacrifice for. And so because you're not willing to do the sacrifice, you resent these people. I'm going to deal with that with sacrifice on part 2. So once again, to covet is to lust after something After lust for something that belongs to someone else. It could be a company too, or whatever, or a company or establishment. To lust after something that belongs to someone else. When you envious of it or jealous of it, you resent the people that have that thing that you want. You resent the people that have that thing that you want. And the difference between a want and a covetousness is one you're willing to work for to get. Can I buy that ox off you? Instead of just wanting that ox and say, you know what, maybe I need to just buy some ox and I'll raise my own. I'll get a good male ox and a good big female ox, and or I pay them to mate and say, hey, if I pay you to mate, can I buy one of the bulls that come out of that or whatever? You're willing to do the sacrifice and willing to put in the work, and that's just a want. When I see people at the gym and they're doing stuff, or I see people on the job site, hey man, I need a hustle. I need a hustle. Maybe I need to earn more. Maybe I need to go back to school. Like I'm starting school next month. I'm not looking forward to it. It's a year of school. It's twice a week for a whole year. It's from like 4:30 to 8. So by the time I get out of school, it's like almost bedtime. So hey, I'm not going to be, I'll have to figure out how to get the gym in every other week or something and probably just maintain for a year. I'm not looking forward to it, but I got to increase my value. If I want to increase how much money I make, I want to increase how often I work, you have to increase your value. And I got to figure things out. Same thing with me teaching. I want to be a better teacher. I need to increase my vocabulary. I need to increase how I articulate my words. I need to increase in learning, So a wise man never stops learning, right? So let's go with give me Proverbs chapter 3. Proverbs chapter 3. And we're actually pretty close to almost done, only because it's just too long for one service, especially when you start it late right now. It's too long for one service, so I don't want to make it an hour and a half long service. So I'd rather just make it 2 40-minute services or whatnot. Proverbs chapter 3. I think Sister Whitney was saying something like, when people covet what someone has, why does he have that? But that's something you want. So if, say you got that, say, man, why do they got that job? You're coveting that, or you envying that. You're jealous over that. But then let's say you get the job, right? Right? You get the job. And then there's people saying, why do you have that job? You'll say, oh, you're hating. You're hating. But when you do it to someone else, it's not hating. And or what she said too that makes sense is, why can't both you guys get good jobs? Why can't both you guys get good husbands? Why can't both you guys get a nice car? Why is it got to be either I have it or no one has it? That in and of itself, envying and jealousy and coveting, just depletes from you. It kills your thoughts. But we'll get into that on part 2. Proverbs chapter 3. It'll be like, praise the Almighty. May both of us get a job. I'm glad that that person has that good job. Maybe I could get a good job too. Let's win together. But covetousness and enviness and jealousy are selfish traits, selfish characteristics, right? Let's keep going. Proverbs chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. Now, the reason why this one is difficult is because what I was saying with the difference between a want and a covet is, a want is you desire, man, I want a car like that, or what that guy's doing that's going on, I got to figure out what I need to do. I got to step up and figure out what I need to do to get that. That's just a desire. It's not a lustful desire. It's just a desire. Versus, man, why does he have that? Oh, why, man, that's nothing ever good happens to me. I should have that. Man, I really want that, right? So the reason why it says, don't envy the oppressor is because we can't work for that. So it's hard for us to do it in righteousness, because like prime example, Congo, the whole Ebola, Congo. Whitney put me on getting to this too, but I heard a little bit about it a couple of weeks ago in Congo. The Ebola is spreading out, and there's people in Congo saying there's no Ebola. But a couple of weeks ago, I showed that they didn't send humanitarian aid; they sent military just to guard the gold mines and the lithium mines in the midst of the quarantine. So I already knew something was fishy with that because they didn't send any help. And then she was saying how Bill Gates is doing fake Ebola test strips, like those fake ones for the Yovid, right? So, and then they'll quarantine the whole area and move all these people, displace all these people off of their land, and then they'll come in and then mine the gold. This is what they're doing in Congo right now. There is no outbreak and no spread and none of that. I'm not saying Ebola does not exist, nor do I say that the Bovid, right? 19, right? So that's what they're doing. So back to what I'm getting for. We can't envy these people because their ways are wicked. This is why it says don't envy the oppressor. And so why would he say that to us? Because we're going to see some of the stuff that they get. And it's not like it says, you know what, if I put my head in the ground and I work hard, I could get that nice car too. I could get that too. I could do that too. No, you can't, because you'll have to sin against the Most High to do that. You'll have to, if you want that CEO spot, but he backstabbed all his way up and he sabotaged people all his way up to do it. There's some people that will sabotage you on your way to make sure you fail. We're going to deal with this later on with covetousness and envy and jealousy, right? Make sure you fail. Even to the point to where they'll envy. We'll deal with envy in more in detail. I don't want to mess up tomorrow's service. So it says don't envy the oppressor. And yeah, you know what? There's going to be things they could get that you can't get, simply because I'm not gonna break the Sabbath to make that extra money. I'm not gonna go ahead and tell a lie or turn the blind ear just so I could just keep my job. I'm not gonna do this to do lie on a report or whatnot so I could get a promotion. There's just some things we're not gonna do. So he says, don't envy these people. What the other people have, and you want that stuff, you shouldn't envy anyone. You want that stuff, then yeah. And there's a godly jealousy and a godly envy too, that we'll get into it next service. But there's nothing wrong with saying, man, you know, when you see someone at the gym, like, dude, that dude looks good. But some people will come like, man, that guy, he's probably roided or this and this. He spends his whole life in the gym, and they're hating because they have a physique that you don't have. But you're in the same building and you're around the same machines and you have the same weights and you could do that. You watch YouTube and you could do the same exact exercise, but you don't want to cut your sugar. You don't want to eat more healthier. You still want to drink alcohol. You don't want to be consistent. You don't want to get off your phone and only get like 2 to 3 minutes rest time and get into your next set and get a full workout. And you've been there an hour and a half and only went to 2 machines because you spent more time on the phone than you actually spent pushing some weight. And so it's easier for you to look at me or look at the other people that got results and just envy them and covet them and resent them and say they're just that they only have nothing going on. You know, I seen a buddy, you know, he was cool. He was trying to get me to be a recruiter for jobs. And I was looking into that before I started to learn how to code and whatnot. And I'm glad I didn't get into coding too, because they called everyone back. And then they just mass layoff, whole bunch of people, dude, whole bunch of people. They laid off even more recently this month, tech jobs, but coding jobs and stuff. But nonetheless, and a lot of HR positions. So nonetheless, he made good money. And he see people that has a way better physique than him, and he says, yeah, these people that look good, they're broke. Why are you coveting? But if they say, oh, you know, you make good money, but you look like trash, you're gonna say he's hating. Why are you covetous because they got a physique that you don't got? And so your own insecurity, whatever you got to shine, you're gonna shine and say, well, I make more money than you. Because he makes like $250,000 a year. He was well off. He was well off. $250,000. He was well off, right? So, but it shows how covetousness it just rots. It rots you, and I ain't gonna ruin that too. But it just consumes you. It's nothing. It adds no value to you. So, let's go back to Proverbs 23. And I stopped kicking it with them after that time, because once I realized that, I was like, if you say that about them, and I make pretty decent money, so what do you think about me? Just because I go in here and I worked hard, you went into the corporate world and you worked hard and you became a top recruiter to where you made 250,000 a year. And so you have another person that took their energy and they invested it in their body. And then a lot of, because he doesn't really look, no girls look at him like he's just an average guy, right? And he sees that girls are checking this dude out, or me, or whoever, right? And so he just says something like that. Like, you worked hard and got your money. He worked hard and got his physique. And he's getting attention for it. And no one's giving you attention. And so what do? You just covet on that guy. You just be envious of that guy. And just shoot that guy down. Simply because of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, nah. Don't let that be our ruin. Especially the people of the Most High. Let that not be our ruin. I really learned very quickly, too, from my own experience, that put in a sacrifice and you could get the things you want. Where I'm at, exactly where I'm at today, is the decisions I made for the last 5-6 years. Where I'm at today is this, your health is like the last 10-15 years, because it takes a while for smoking to catch up to you. And some drugs like fentanyl, I'd probably take like 6 months or something, but it takes a while of you eating McDonald's and drinking a whole bunch of soda. It takes a while before that catches up to you. The high cholesterol, pre-diabetic, whatever. It takes a while. So where you are health-wise, you are the product of you were 15 years ago. When you used to play basketball, going up and down, up and down, up and down, and then now you have beat up knees, that's the product of your last 15 years, always playing basketball, always doing that, right? Where you are financially, this is the product of your decisions for the last 5 years. Did you save? Did you invest? Did you do this? Did you acquire more jobs? Did you go to school? Did you add value to yourself? Every year we have an opportunity to add value to ourselves. And I'm bringing this all back to covetousness. Because if we learn how to add value to ourselves, then we're less likely to covet. So every year you have a year. What can I do? This new year just started. Passover just hit. It's the Passover. What can I do to be a better father, to be a better husband, to make more money, to stop leaks? We'll just deal with making money and stop leaks. To be a better public speaker, to be a better leader, to guide my house, to make better financial decisions. I got a whole year. What can I do? And let's just deal with the two things, which I'm going to deal with in a couple of weeks, me and the fans. Stop the leaks. Stop the leaks. If you just stop the leaks, oh, I go to the gas station, let me get a bag of chips. As expensive as food is now, that bag of chips is like $4 now. You get a candy bar that used to be 50, 75 cents. That's like $2-3 for a little tiny candy bar. You get a little soda here. Not only you're getting the soda and you're wasting money getting the soda or slushy, the $2-3, but you're just putting pure sugar into you. So you're destroying your body and you're keeping yourself financially broke. Like, so it's a double leak, a leak on your health and a leak in your pockets. And you do that for 5 years. And then you're like, man, dude, time flew by. I'm in the same position. And that could lead to covetousness. Well, when you see people are doing better, envious of people doing better, that could lead to your health being bad. That could lead to you falling into depression. And you're like, man, I'm sad, dude. I don't got no money. Nothing goes right for me. The doctor said I'm this and this and this. And it was self-destructive. And it was preventable. So and I'm just going to deal with the money aspect, or we can even deal with the relationship aspect. Because when he dealt with covenants, he dealt mainly with don't covet your neighbor's wife or other people's possessions. But let's just deal with the wife, because it says if you look at a woman lust after her, you commit adultery in your heart. And obviously that means if you look at a married woman, because you can't commit adultery if you're not married and the other person not married and you lust after her, right? And there is no fornication in the heart. So whatever, the desire to have sex with the opposite person isn't wrong. The desire to have sex with another man's wife is wrong. So nonetheless, right? And I'm not saying you could go fornicate. That's a sin against the Most High. So, man, she has a good husband. But if you're morbidly obese, lose the weight. Learn how to cook. What does she do that you're not doing? Have you ever thought about that? There's some pretty girls says, I don't know how I look this pretty and I'm still single. And they're 35, 30, and they look good because your attitude. A woman at McDonald's will be married before you because she don't look as good as you, but she has the right attitude and she could follow because I want a leader, but I don't want to follow. And a lot of these women are like that. I want a leader, but I don't want to give up my booty pics. I don't want to give up the attention, the male validation I get. No man that has self-respect wants to date a woman that her whole Instagram and whatnot is getting validation or sexual attention from other men on social media. So then we're all the good men. They're going to walk right by you. And so then you're envious. How did, man, I look way better than her. How she got a man like that? Because she's humble. Because she has characteristics. She has character that you don't have. So how about you get some character? How about you learn how to lead? How about you learn how to be submissive? Why do you have to say the last word? Oh, how did he get a girl that I look better than him? Oh, because, you know what I'm saying? He got his money up. He was first to approach. You don't approach. You only do people through swipe right, swipe left. What is he doing that you're not doing? Put the work in and you could get the same results. And if you think like that, as the saints of the Most High, we think like that, like, hey, we are the product of our decisions we made for the last 5 years, right? Where we are financially. And if we make better decisions, I say this all the time, we'll have a better life because we produce a better outcome. You make better decisions, that produces a better outcome, which produces a better life. So why do I need to covet anyone? I just put the work in. I don't have to be the smartest person. I just have to be the most disciplined. I don't have to be the strongest person. I just have to have endurance to survive the war of attrition. I don't have to even be the most skilled person. I just have to have the determination to be consistent and always consistently making better decisions will lead to more wealth coming to me, which I'm just going to expect it to come. It's not even going to be a surprise because I'm making better decisions. So it's expected for me to have that. If I plant one seed, I get one plant. If I plant 100 seeds, I get 100 plants. No farmer was like, dude, I planted 1,000 plants, corn, and man, look at all this harvest. Yeah, they'll be happy for the harvest, but it's expected. It's expected. And it's the same thing if we make better decisions. So why would we have to covet anyways? If we see something that we want, hey, there's some things that you just can't get. And I understand that some things isn't for us. And maybe I'll add that to next service. Some things isn't for you. You know how many false preachers out there want to go and teach and save souls? He didn't call you. He didn't call you. This is why you keep Sunday worshiping. This is why you don't know who the true Hebrews are. This is why you eat pork and celebrate Christmas, because he never called you. So you just took this Bible and ran. Some things I realize that some things just isn't for me. Something it says if he'll give you the desires of your heart. There's some things that you desire and he'll give you. He'll give it to you. He'll give it to you. But some things ain't for me. And some things I can work for because there's a universal law. You reap what you sow. And if I'm sowing in positive, if I'm putting money in, I'm investing and getting dividends and compound and using the universal law of compound interest, then I should get something to pull out later on. There will be no need to covet. There will be no need to covet. For me to see what someone else has is just to set the reference point of what's achievable, not for me to envy that person. I don't envy that. When I see people in the gym and they look pretty clean, I just got to hit it harder. I don't envy them. I'm like, all right, that's my competition. I'm going to have to take them out. I could probably do it in 6. Some of them like maybe 3 months. I'll start eating right, this and this and this. And then when I come out, bro, I got them. Most of the time, sometimes they roided too much. Most people that roid a little bit, I could get them. You know what I'm saying? I could come looking cleaner, come hitting harder and be good, right? But nonetheless, you know what I'm saying? You got to do what you got to do. So go ahead and give me 2 Samuel chapter 11. 2 Samuel chapter 11. All right, let's get it. And it came to pass, and the year was at the time of the king go forth to battle, and David sent Joab his servants with him and all Israel, and they destroyed the children of Ammon and besieged Ramah, but David tarried still at Jerusalem. And it came to pass at eventime that David arose from off his bed and walked on the roof of the king's house, and the roof, um, um, and from the roof he saw a woman washing herself, and the woman was very beautiful to look upon. And David sent and inquired after the woman, and one said, not that this Bathsheba, the daughter of Elam, the wife of Uriah the Hittite, so one of his top generals. And David sent messengers and took her, and she came in unto him, and he lay with her, for she was purified from her uncleanness, and she returned into her house. And the woman conceived and sent and told David, said, I am with child. And David sent to Joab, saying, send Uriah the Hittite. And Joab sent Uriah the Hittite. And when Uriah was come, David demanded how Joab did, and how the people did, and how the war prospered. And David said to Uriah, go down into thy house and wash thy feet. Uriah departed out of the house, and there followed him a mess of meat from the king. That's crazy. That he slept, he desired, he coveted his neighbor's wife. Let's keep going. But Uriah slept at the door of the king's house with all the servants of his lords, and went not down to the house. When they had told him David, Uriah went not down to his house. David said unto him, comest thou not from the journey? Why did thou not go down into thy house? So he tried to make Uriah think the kid was his, right? So let's keep going. So I'll bring you here. She won't do the timing. You probably won't keep track. You're going to sleep with your wife. You're going to think that the kid's yours, and we're going to move on, right? So you're despising him, right? Uriah said unto David, the ark of the Israel and Judah abide in tents, my lord Joab, and the servants of my lord are encamped in open fields. Shall I go into my house and eat and drink and lie with my wife as I live, and as the soul live? I will not do this thing. And David said unto Uriah, tarry here this day, and tomorrow I will let thee depart. So Uriah abode in Jerusalem day and tomorrow, and David called him, and they did eat and drink before, and he made him drunk at evening when he went out to lie in his bed with the servants of the Lord, but went not down to his house. So he tried to get him drunk and send him. Then he'll be like, man, I'm going to go to my wife and this, try to get him drunk and send him. But he didn't do it. And he was faithful to David, and he was faithful to Joab. And it came to pass in the morning that David wrote a letter to Joab and sent it by the hand of Uriah. So you sent this man his own death letter. And Uriah, for the hottest battle, retire ye him, that he may be smitten and die. So you sent this man his own death letter to get to Joab. And I could imagine Joab just coming. Uriah the Hittite's one of his generals. This is for David. All right. And just sent him to the hottest part of the battle. Right? Let's keep going. This is why covetousness leads to envy. And because now David resents this man. You are actually going against this man that's done nothing to you, but has something that you wanted. Let's keep going. And we're going to prove this. And he wrote a letter saying, set Uriah in forefront of the hottest battle, and retire ye him, that he may be smitten and die. And it came to pass as Joab observed the city, and assigned Uriah in the place where he knew the valiant men were. And the men of the city went out and fought against Joab, and there fell some of the people, the servants of David, and Uriah the Hittite died also. Then David sent and told David all the things concerning the war. Let's go to verse 25. Then David said unto the messenger, because he said, hey, Uriah the Hittite's dead. Thus shalt thou say to Joab, let nothing be displeased thee, for the sword devoureth one as well as the other. Make the battle more strong against the city, and overthrow it, and encourage thou him. And when the wife of Uriah heard that Uriah her husband was dead, she mourned for her husband. And when the morning was past, David sent and fetched her into his house, and she became his wife, and bare unto him a son. But this thing that David did had displeased the Most High. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, the Almighty got him. I'm in the midst of that too. But it shows you that covetousness will lead to envy. They go hand in hand. They may be different in the definition, but they go hand in hand. Go ahead and give me 1 Kings 21. 1 Kings 21. Now we'll go with possessions. And it came to pass that after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab, king of Samaria. Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me that vineyard that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it was near unto my house, and I'll give thee a better vineyard than of it. Or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money. And Naboth said unto Ahab, The Lord forbid me that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. And that's the one thing I want to tell you guys too, is you do not sell your inheritance. It gets passed down. It's generational wealth. Anything that you bought and you flipped, that's different. But if your parents handed you this house down, you're not supposed to go and sell that house. You may in the States, because they have some stupid thing called landowner's tax and they reappraise it and whatnot, whatever, right? And you may have to because you don't have the money. That's different because this country is just wicked. But no, anything passed down, you keep, that's an inheritance. If you buy some other stuff and you flip it, that's totally different. And that's why it's a sin when you do that. You're not supposed to do that. If your parents left you a house, then you keep the house and you give it to your children and they give it to their children. That's why it's not 5 generations down there homeless. No, that's not what you do. So this man said, God forbid that we should do this. So this is to my kids. If I leave you guys land, even if you don't have money to build on it, it still goes to your children and their children and their children. You don't come and some person come and say, because you're broke, right? Some person says, man, I'll give you $2 million for that land. And you're like, well, I'm broke and I'm barely living. No. Oh, well, you just stay broke. It's because you're broke because it's the actions of what you did the last 5 years. Yeah, maybe you're broke for a reason, because you've done nothing. You just drifted. And this is why you're broke. Not because you're broke because you got tossed a bad hand and whatnot. Even if you didn't have the money or didn't have a car catching the bus and you got offered $2 million, you don't sell your father's or your grandfather's inheritance. You don't do that. That's wrong. Let's keep going. Naboth said unto Ahab, The Lord forbid me that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. Ahab came into his house heavy, and it displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him, for he had said, I will not give thee inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would not eat. That's all said. This is how much covetousness he was, to where it consumed him, to where he just didn't even want to eat. He went in his bed, you throw a little tension tantrum and just didn't even want to eat because he didn't get a vineyard. And he's a king. Like, you have a better, you already said you have a better vineyard, but it's just not close to your house. And you desire that much that where you just won't eat. That's all bad. That's what covetousness would do. It will consume you like a cancer. Let's keep going. But Jezreel, his wife, came to him and said, Why is thy spirit so sad that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto him, Because I spake unto Boaz the Jezreelite, and said unto him, Give me this vineyard for money, and if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. And Jezreel, his wife, said unto him, Doth thou not govern the king of Israel? Arise, eat bread, let thy heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth to Jezreel. So she wrote letters unto Ahab's name and sealed it. This is where envy gets in. This is where you despise and you resent people. Let thy heart be merry, and I will give thee the vineyard Naboth the Jezreelite. Verse 8. So he wrote letters unto Ahab's name and sealed it with the seal, and sent letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in the city dwelling in Naboth. And she wrote the letter, saying, Proclaim a fast and set Naboth on high among the people, and set 2 men the sons before him, and bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme God and the king, and carry him out and stone him that he might die. The men in the city and the elders and the nobles who were inhabitants of the city did as Jezebel had sent unto them. And as it was written in the letters which she said sent unto them, they proclaimed a fast and set Naboth on high among the people. And there came 2 men and the children of Belial and sat before him. And the man of Belial witnessed against him, even against them both in the present. That would be crazy, that you just come out and you did nothing wrong and these false witness against you. And now you're already up on the podium or whatnot. And now you're being something that you thought was being praised is coming to condemnation. And the people saying that both did blaspheme God and the king, and they carried him out of the city, and they stoned him with stones that he died. So he died a painful death because of that. And they sent to Jezreel, saying that both is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass when Jezreel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, and Jezreel said unto Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard, Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee the money. For Naboth is not alive but dead. And it came to pass when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab arose to go upon down to the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite and take his possession. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, we'll stop right there. But the Almighty is going to deal with both of them because of that. But covetousness led to envy, and envy has led to his destruction. Because you don't have something that now you resent and you envy these people. You're jealous over these people. And a lot of times they've done nothing to you. Sometimes the only thing they wronged you is just by having the possession. They worked hard, and we're going to deal with the sacrifice. They worked hard and they got a nice car. They didn't do anything to you. They've never talked to you. They probably don't even know you. They probably just a coworker to you. They didn't do anything wrong by just buying something that you want. And now you resent them. Now you hate on them. They just come to the company, work hard. I got a brother at Troops United. He comes and he works hard, and he got a position that the other people wanted, feeding, taking care of the homeless and whatnot. And people were hating on him, and he did nothing wrong, but just working hard. But because they didn't have it, they're covetous. Now they resent him. I don't like you. Why? Because you have something that I have. Because you outworked me, which I had the ability to outwork, to work harder. I had the ability to increase my value. I chose to do nothing, but I feel I'm entitled or I'm deserving to have that position you have because of A, B, and C. Because I didn't put the work in. So instead of me looking at the mirror and saying, man, maybe I could step up. Maybe these are some areas I could step up because look what he did and look what he got. And I don't have that, but I want that. So maybe I need to replicate that. Maybe I got to step up. Instead of me looking at the mirror, it's better for me to despise you and resent you than for me to see where I could come up higher. And it's like, no, let that not be with us. Not with the people of the Most High, right? So, envy and covetousness come together. We're going to start, that'll be part one. So, covetousness and envy, I guess you could name that. Covetousness and envy. That'll be part one, and then we'll deal with part two next week. And then I didn't have time because I started late. I did want to do with that little girl. These agents keep shooting black people and get away with it in the court system. I don't know what kind of lawyers you got, but my thing is, why? If I was a father, why don't you just, if the law fails you, I have a God-given right to put the law in my own hands. It's called the revenger of blood. And for some of you guys why are you guys afraid to go to prison for the rest of your life? If I'm going to choose to go to prison for the rest of my life, it's going to be for me protecting my kids or being a avenger of blood. I'm down with that. I will have no regrets. I was willing to do it when I was gangbanging. And then the people in that community, where are your Bloods and your Crips and your Vice Lords and GD folks? And where are all these people at for saying, oh, this is my hood and this, and then this happens, you guys do nothing? You could do a drive-by on some people that by ops. I got ops. And you go to prison for that, or you go to prison because you argued over a gas pump, or prison because you felt disrespectful on something on Instagram or a live stream, and so you found where they were located and you shot them up. But then you let this go down in the community by these people, and you do nothing. Like, that's why the gangbangers are trash too. And then I don't know, maybe it's a single mother, so she probably can't do it. She still got to raise the other kid. But if I was a father, that stuff would not allow. That stuff I got to be conscious. Bare minimum. They should never have windows at that store, because there will always be a brick going through that window, and they're replacing the window and wait until they replace it. And the day after they replace it, another brick goes through that window. Like, to the point to where they says it's not profitable for me to even stay in this city because I keep losing money. Like, that they go out the back of the door. They leave the back of the building, the alley in the back of the, like, there's so many ways to do, like, if you have to take justice in your own hands when the justice system fails you, there's other ways you could deal with that situation. Like, why are you guys letting that stuff? Boycott them. Boycott them is just a slap on the hands. Yes, that's a given. That's the default setting, boycott. But that stuff wouldn't ride. I'm down to go to prison for all my sons and daughters and my wife. I'm down. That doesn't scare me. It is what it is. I don't care, Winnie. I don't care what uniform they wear. I don't care. I will get revenge. If something happens to my son is by someone in a uniform, I'm taking 7 of them out. And oh well, I'll probably just, yeah, whatever, right? You take it how you want. I don't care what uniform you have. I don't care where you work at. I don't care your nationality. I don't care what it is. It's not going down. It's not going down. And until we retaliate, these Asians people aren't going to respect you guys. So you might want to do what you need to do and raise the ante. You took them to court. The court favors them, so the justice is non-biblical. So you have a biblical right to be the. It's called the avenger of blood. That's a biblical right. You will not go to the lake of fire for being an avenger of blood. Any near of kin to you that had that happen, and you chose to do what you need to do biblically, you'll be all right in the sight of the Almighty. Who cares about these sinner laws? You'll be all right with the Almighty's laws. You'll be perfectly fine in the Almighty's laws. You know what I'm saying? Because the Almighty, He's clear cut how He deals with murders, right? So, with all that said and being done, keep standing. Don't drop standards. Give the Almighty a hand clap. Shalom.